Whoop whoop! What's good, you guys? Cali Green Too Fresh here. Got a very special In the Tunnels interview. Got my boy CLAAS on the phone. What's up, CLAAS?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, just hanging out, man. Thanks for calling in and doing this interview.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Anytime, dude.
So, for those out there who don't know who you are, why don't you go ahead and tell them a little bit about CLAAS? Who the fuck is CLAAS?
I mean, CLAAS is a underground superhero. Let's say that. I mean, I'm a rapper. I mean, I'm from Texas. I've been doing this a long time. I mean, I've done everything you can think of.
Well, hell yeah. You're actually first time I ever heard about you was on the Tunnel Runners album. Why don't you tell us about how you got hooked up with that project actually?
Just a random chance, really. I was doing my shit around that time, and I had just hit the road and did half of the Blaze Clockwork Gray tour. And when I got back home from doing that, I got hit up a few weeks later about this project they were doing. And the way this whole project went down was damn near like a weird contest in sorts. I mean, they hit me up and they were like, "Hey, we just need you to send us a song, like just a song you already have. Just send us a song that best represents you and towards Psychopathic." So I sent them. I don't even remember the song I sent them at that, but and then about a week and a half later, I got hit up with another email, and they were like, "All right, cool. Now record a brand new song that's never been heard before, and send us that song." So that's when I recorded the song. 2 or 3 weeks later, and I got another email that had an attachment for a contract and the whole spiel about what they were doing and why they had us submit, and that they were using All Fall Down as one of the tracks, et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, I signed the contract, sent it back to them. They took the song and they put out Tunnel Runners, and I mean, it was a blessing ever since. I mean, that album went, it was in the top 20 rap albums the week it came out. So I mean, it's kind of neat shit to know that you were on the Billboard charts at one point for an album you were a part of, and there was a lot of other really like dope underground artists that I didn't even know about until we all did that CD and like started meeting each other and knowing who these other artists was, and so it was dope, man. It's one of the coolest things I worked on.
Well, hell yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites, that Psychopathic has ever done. It introduced me, to the whole realm of the underground and horrorcore, and just there's a lot of great people on there, including yourself, and it's dope. So how exactly?
Yeah, I loved it, man. I mean, like I said, it introduced me the same way. Like, I mean, just like a lot of other people who may have not known who I was or who a lot of these other people were, it introduced all of us to a lot of other artists that were doing what they were doing in other areas that maybe they didn't know, and just created this like real crazy broad spectrum over the country, on that CD. So it was dope.
Yeah, I know after I heard that album, I just wanted to go and find all you guys, be like, who the fuck are all these people? There was yourself and fucking Low Key and Kid Crusher, and that just so many great names were part of that project.
Yeah, for real. I mean, shit, I was doing the same thing, because, I mean, the songwriter, F. Dukes is on there, and I had no idea who he was, and he's dope. And there's some others like Mars and Q Strange and Low Key. I knew who they were, but, I mean, Kid Crusher, like, I didn't know anything about him. At that time, I didn't even really know anything about King Gory, I mean, so there was a lot of artists on there that I had no clue about. It was really cool to hear them and be able to go find their music and shit and start meeting them and talking to them and shit. So.
Well, hell yeah. So how exactly did you actually get started with music in a whole?
Just kind of fucking around. I mean, when I was in high school, I was like playing sports. I played basketball and shit, and we would sit there like during our off periods before our practices and just kind of mess around and, you know, like the old school, somebody doing a pencil beat and everybody else just trying to act like they're rappers and do their thing. And it was just always fun. And I just, you know, as I got a little bit older, you know, I met some different people. You know, I ended up, I was working at the, for a website, Juggalo website that doesn't exist anymore that was called Riders.com. And on Riders.com, the dude that ran it also had a record label called Riders Records that was attached to it. And one of the artists on it was McNasty, and who lived in Oklahoma, which was only like 2.5, 3 hours away from where I was at the time. And me and him got to talking, and he was already, you know, doing his thing and had been doing it for a minute. And so I met up with him, and we just kind of messed around, and we created a CD called, under the group title Full Scale Riot. And we put that CD out, and people dug it, and I just went from there, man, like steadily evolved from that point on, just trying to figure out what I was doing and how I wanted to do it. From that, it was just, you know, one way or another, I wanted to do rap at that point and try to make something out of it. So that's what I've been doing ever since.
Well, hell yeah, you know, you've done a lot so far, you know, with rap, with, I don't know how many different, you know, underground labels you've been part of at this point, but you've been worked with a lot of good artists. You're actually part of the Underground Avengers. You know, Boondocks has stated that he doesn't plan on doing another one of those albums, but, you know, is there any chance of you hooking back up with Buckshot and trying to make something out of that?
I mean, personally, I don't know, man. That's really on Buck and Boondocks. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I've always said to anybody who's asked me, like, if they call and they want to do it, you know, then I'm 100% in. You know, hands down, I don't even have to think twice about it. But, you know, if they're trying to do their own thing, then I mean, of course, you know, I'm gonna do my own thing. And I mean, you know, to a point, it sucks for anybody who's just now finding out about us. I mean, now it's almost 4 years later, and it's like really getting into it. And like, man, I love this CD. I can't wait for y'all to do more, because they kind of missed out on the train where we were doing everything. And you know, who knows if anything else was going to happen with it from this point on. I mean, everyone's doing their own thing. I know you know, Boondocks has, you know, all of his shit with Psychopathic and his albums and stuff, and, you know, Buckshot's always working on some stuff. But I personally wish we would do at least one more, you know, just because we did an EP. The EP was amazing. You know, I mean, it's almost 4 years later. Still get people who message me or see me at a show or hit me up on Twitter that's just like all about it. Like, man, this album is so easy and shit like that. So it's like, you know, kind of just based on demand of what people would like to see, you know, because in my opinion, that's what music is. You know, we can all do whatever we want, you know, at any time. But if so many people want you to come together and do one thing, then I don't see why you wouldn't, you know, just to kind of give people, you know, what they're asking for. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, who are we without those people? You know, so personally, like I said, I mean, I would love to do at least one more, whether EP or album, and just fucking knock it out the park and do one more Underground Avengers CD. But I can tell you one way or the other if it would actually ever happen. So, I don't know, man.
Never say never kind of deal.
I agree. I mean, if the ball's in there, you know, the ball's in their court, as they say. You know, I'm in. You know, I thought it was awesome. I thought it was one of the best projects I've ever worked on. I mean, it was one of the most, you know, that and Tunnel Runners, you know, have been two of the things I've been a part of that have been the most well-received things. So, I mean, I just don't know why you wouldn't want to keep trying to do it. I mean, but, you know, I mean, nothing against either one of them. You know, I love them to death, you know, and what we did was, you know, awesome in my opinion. But, we'll see, man. You never know what happens in the future. Maybe they decide, yeah, let's rock it one more time. But if not, then, at least people got that one.
Yeah, exactly. I hope to hear, more from Underground Avengers. But, what you actually currently got going on, you're doing this 50 and 50 challenge. Why don't you tell us about that and how you started the 50 and 50 challenge?
It's basically an Ironman challenge, man. I mean, like, everybody every year, talks about what they're going to do and how they're going to do this. And everybody, talks about the album or the mixtape or the EP they're going to do. And, a lot of times stuff just doesn't come to fruition or people fall off. But, like I'm doing the 50 and 50 challenge, which if nobody, whoever's listening hasn't already heard it. 50 songs that week. Even if I'm at the gathering this year, come hell or high water, a song will come out the week that I'm at the gathering. It's 50 straight songs, brand new songs, no mixtape things on industry beats, no freestyles, nothing short of full produced, mixed, and mastered, tracks like an album. And then every 10 that I do will be an album. So there'll be 5 albums that will have 10 songs plus 2 or 3 bonus songs every album. So you'll get the 10 songs I put out plus more per album. And it's just I just kind of wanted to do something differently, man. I just wanted to do something that a lot of people wouldn't want to attempt to do, or try to do. I wanted to do something that allowed me to start working with a lot of artists that I've never worked with, or that I feel like are really awesome and deserve recognition, for what they do. So the 50 and 50 will have a lot of people that I've never worked with that, some people may not know and some people might know, but I mean, it's cool. Like, I mean, I've already done 5 week 6s is coming up, and a little rough trying to write, record, mix, master, get a beat, and do a song every week, especially when you do CLAAS, because then I'm pretty much at the mercy of that person understanding what I'm doing and getting me their portion of the song back in time. But all in all, man, it's pretty dope. Like, the project has been a lot of fun, and I think people will see, like, how crazy it gets as it gets further and further along.
Oh, hell yeah, that's got to be hard, like, working with other artists and trying to keep them on a schedule. I know I do a lot of mixtape and stuff, and it's hard. It really is hard to, get some of those people to understand what you're trying to do and, have them on board whenever you're on a time schedule.
Yeah, so far it hasn't been too bad. I mean, I've worked with a homie of mine from Renegade from Mountain, Michigan, and then I worked with Diabolic from LSP, and I worked with a homeboy of mine from here named Sick Noise, and this week's has a dude named Ed Money on it. And so far, man, everybody's been real into what I'm trying to do, and it's like it's a challenge to them too, because I'm sending them a song, and they've only got like a day or two to write and record and send me back their verse, so that I can get the song to my people to mix and master. So, it's fun, because I think other people are down for it. It's a challenge for anybody that's a part of it. And it's just good. It's getting music out there to everybody in the best way possible, which is free music, man. Anybody can put out albums and stuff like that. And then, I get it, but at the end of the day, I'm just trying to get music out to people, like, flat out. I get that people don't have money and, people don't always have a way to get music like that, through iTunes and shit like that. So, instead of doing all that, I'm just kind of like, fuck it, and I'll just put it on SoundCloud and Reverb and Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and, everything else, and just tell people to grab it. Like, all I've been asking is that people share it. If you take it, pass it on to some other people,
Hell yeah. I gotta say, it's dope. It's not a lot of people are willing to do something like that, not just come up with, 50 songs in 50 weeks, but actually do that and then give it back to the people for free. You know, that's pretty dope.
I mean, money is money, man. I mean, I get that everybody in this business is trying to make money, but at the same time, you know, there's a lot of people out there that while you're trying to make money, they don't have money. You know, so if it's a catch-22, like as much as you want to make money, you know, you have to have people that can give money. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm just weird, man. I don't. People always ask me throughout the years because I've given all of my CDs away for free, and I've given track after track away for free, and you know, like people always ask me like why, and it's like I'm just a different dude, man. I just, you know, I'll make money how I make money through music and you know doing shows and shit like that. But as far as the music goes, like I'm into my music so much that I want other people to like feel and experience that music, and so the best way for me to do that is to give it to them. Like here's the music, you know. Now do me a favor and tell your friends about the music, you know. And you know, at the end of the day, like people get free music, and I get a push, but I also know that I'm allowing people to get, you know, music without having to fucking do anything or have money or like spend money. Like here's music flat out.
Well, hell yeah. And then you're saying earlier that you plan on actually turning these songs into albums though too, so that way you can, if people want to, they can go back and they can purchase it and help you out as well.
Yeah, I mean, well, I got hit up when I first started it when people asked me, Are you gonna make it into CDs? I mean, because there are still a lot of people out there that like to have hard copies of CDs and like to get on iTunes and support artists and do whatever they can. And so, you know, I was like, well, yeah, we can do that. Well, like I can put out everything, but I'm not just gonna do it and then give you songs that you've already heard. So I'm gonna put them out. Like you'll get the songs you've already heard put together in a CD format, but at the same time, I'm gonna give people remixes and extra bonus songs and other collabs that are gonna just be extra for anybody who decides they want to grab that. So you know, at the end of the day, it's not only 50 songs, but it might be 50 songs and, you know, fucking 30 bonus songs and like 10 remixes, and so it's gonna be pretty fucking crazy the amount of music that'll come out of this.
Hell yeah, that's fresh. I'm excited about that. I'm one of those people that, you know, likes to go back and support my artists and, you know, actually buy CDs, so that's pretty dope.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, man. The support is cool for anybody, no matter how you support an artist, whether it's buying CDs or buying T-shirts or just retweeting and liking and sending people's, you know, pictures out and, you know, songs out and shit to the masses. You know, support is all we got as artists, so I truly appreciate that.
Hell yeah, you know, like you said, not everyone can afford, you know, music as much as they would like to, and, you know, it's always good for the people that aren't able to afford that music to, you know, help share it. That way, you know, it gets out there and more people know about it, and the more people that know about it, you know, the more chance you got of, you know, making a little something off of it, getting the word out to someone who's going to really feel it and be like, yeah, man, I got an extra, you know, $10, whatever, for the CD. So
yeah,
it's pretty fresh. I got to say, this 50 and 50 challenge, it's one of the dopest things I've heard of. I've never heard of anything like that. So I'm definitely excited to, you know, hear more of the music that comes out of that. So, you know, let it be known you're a juggalo. You've played The Gathering. You've, you know, worked with Boondocks and the Tunnel Runners. When was the first time you ever actually heard ICP?
I was 12 when I heard of ICP. Actually, one of my cousins had a CD, and their mom basically didn't want them to have it, and so they gave it to me, you know, just kind of like here, and I checked it out and thought it was dope. And then as I got into high school, like I had a bunch of other friends that were into it, And I mean, that was it for me, man. Like when it was Ringmaster whenever I was 12, like that was what was out. And so it was just like, once I heard it, like I was in 100%. Like I thought it was like way different than everything else at that time that I was listening to. So it was nice because I mean, it hasn't ever been the only thing I ever listened to, but it's been the majority. Like, you know, I've always had other interests in music and like rap and rock, but ICP and you know, then ICP and Twisted, and then ICP and Twisted and Blaze at that time, like their shit was so much different than everything else that you could listen to. Even when I got into doing music and like other people were doing like horrorcore and shit like that, like, you know, and then darker rap, like for some reason, man, ICP and all them, like the music was just so much different and so fun and cool to listen to, you know, that it's just always kind of been a part of my life. I mean, I've been a juggalo since I was like real young, and I mean, I'm older now, but I still got tattoos and, you know, all kinds of shit that represents me being a juggalo, you know, for the majority of my life.
Well, hell yeah. And then, when was your actual first real juggalo, like, experience? You know, there's a big difference between having a couple of homies, you know, and kicking it and listening to ICP and then taking that next step and going to a show and, you know, interacting with the juggalos in a whole. You know, it's a lot different. When was your first real juggalo experience?
I mean, I would honestly say because I went to a lot of shows prior. I mean, they always would come through, like, they came to Dallas a lot of times, and I mean, I saw so many different concerts, and then just the craziness, but I mean, I truly think one of the first, like, the wildest experience was going to, like, the first gathering, like, when they started doing gatherings, because I've been to every single gathering so far, and just going to the first few gatherings, like, it was so, like, going to a show in your city was cool, like, you know, like, and then I had been to a bunch, and it's like, you always see those people there, and the jugglers, you know, but the gathering, like, fucking changed the game with the whole juggalo experience. Like, even those first ones in the convention centers, you know, because you would go to a town and the streets would just be full with juggalos that you had never met. And I mean, remember, like, at that point, the internet wasn't even as big as it is now. You know, when they first started doing gatherings, I mean, the shit was cool on the internet, but it wasn't like it is now. You know, so you didn't know a lot of these people, you know, like you can know them now, like via Facebook and Twitter. So you were meeting like a sea of fucking brand new, like, homies and shit that you had never met before. And it was like love, like immediately, like it wasn't like there was no awkwardness. Like you went to the gathering, and as soon as you got there and got hit with a whoop whoop, like it was done. Like you were just hanging out and fucking kicking it for, you know, 3 days with a bunch of people you never knew and never met. But from that point on, you knew that you had those friends for good, you know. And so that was probably the first, like, I mean, real experience in, like, you know, how crazy juggalo shit is and how cool it is in your life, you know, to be a part of it. You know, for me, I mean, because it was so much different than just going to the show, you know, with my homies when ICP would come to town.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. I've been to one gathering. I went to the 10th annual, and it was so fresh. I mean, I think I spoke with you for, you know, a split second at that gathering. But I mean, just, it's good vibes all around, you know, and I was hearing that was even whenever, like, you know, things were kind of like a little shaky, but for me it was good. It was good all around for me. What do you think of the new gathering location?
I thought it was pretty cool, man. I mean, it was a lot smaller than Cave in Rock, but at the same time, you know, it was still bigger than, you know, all the old school ones at, like, convention centers and shit like that. Like, I mean, if the old school juggalos that had started going to the early gatherings, like, they'll tell you flat out, like, no matter how big the campground, that shit is vastly different and better than the convention center shit, because that shit was kind of crazy, you know, trying to be in a loaded-ass convention center with fucking cops all around and just like madness. But like the new spot was cool. It was I thought it was neat. It was a lot smaller walking around, so it was a little more convenient than Cave in Rock because of how less spread out it was. You know, they still had a dope main stage area, and all the way they had the merch set up this year was like merch row, and everything was like real cool. So I actually dig it. You know, the weather was good out there. I mean, we didn't have to worry about really anything in Ohio this year, whereas in Illinois, there was at least one day where it fucking rained every year. So, it was pretty cool. I liked it.
Well, hell yeah. And since we're on the subject of gathering, why don't you tell us, just off the dome, what is the craziest thing you have seen at the gathering?
Oh, shit.
You've been to all of them, so, I mean, I know you've seen some crazy shit.
I mean, I've seen a lot of wild shit. I mean, drug bridge and fucking, some shit that Jelly Roll's gotten on video. And, I saw two people dry humping on a golf cart with security in it one time. I saw a dude at Cave in Rock damn near walk off the edge. Like, literally, almost walked himself into the river. Like, I mean, I saw one year a homeboy of mine, now, Psycho Jesus, let a dude punch him in the face. Like, I mean, there's been some wild shit. I mean, I've seen people, like, one year I saw a dude who had a chair like wrestling and was, asking people for $1 to let them smash on him with a chair. Just one good shot with this chair. I mean, there's some crazy shit. Plus, like, I mess with Wolfpack now. And so every year I'm with Wolfpack for Psychopathic Radio, and some of the craziest shit you'll ever see is at the Wolfpack thing. I mean, we saw the dude's nipples get ripped straight off his body. Ooh. I mean, so some of the wildest shit you can see is just at Psychopathic Radio throughout the day, and like you'll see some nuts shit.
Well, hell yeah. Before we get on out of here, is there anything you'd like to say to all those people listening? Any shout-outs or anything?
Just thank you to everybody, man. I appreciate you taking the time to interview me. Shout-out to everybody that follows me on Twitter and is a friend of mine on Facebook. Check out the 50 and 50 challenge. Spread that shit around. Let people hear it and know it. And, I'm going to keep the tracks coming every week, and then just shout out to everybody that, enjoys good underground music and steps away from, the shit that, is more mainstream and doesn't really, focus on the people that they're doing music for, as opposed to focusing on themselves and trying to just make money and shit, like music's about people. At the end of the day, everything you do in music is for other people. If you're doing music for yourself, then you've missed the concept of what music really does for people and how much it can mean to another person, like something that you said. So, just shout out to everybody that's in music for really being into music and loving music and shit. See everybody at this year's fucking gathering.
Well, hell yeah. We'll definitely, keep our viewers updated with, the 50 and 50 challenge. So, we'll do our part. Thank you once again for taking the time to do this interview.
Well, thank you very much, man, for helping me out and fucking supporting me and doing this interview, man. Appreciate it, and I'll make sure to let everybody know about the site and shit. Y'all do good work and you're helping the underground.
Oh, hell yeah, I appreciate that. But, alright, you guys, I'm Cali Green Too Fresh. This has been In the Tunnels with CLAAS. Yep.
TCH.
Check that hashtag, Ninjas in Action. We up out of here. Peace.